Hey, what's up guys? So we're over at the boatyard working on the Joseph Hiram Chadwick, which is the Barnett 52 Mark 1 historic lifeboat. So I'm working on the back end at the moment, just basically having a look underneath the paintwork, getting some of this paint off, checking what the boards are looking like, and some of them have begun to split. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the sander out, and I'm going to start sanding off some of this timber and getting some of this paint off the boat. We can see some of the caulking material has started being pulled out of this board, and that the fastenings are deteriorating. So I've got 4 months here at this particular boatyard. There's another fitting that's on its way. So we've got 4 months here at the boatyard to get Joseph ready for transportation to a new location, because Joseph, where we are, essentially what's happening is the boatyard wants to put something else here, and if I hadn't taken on the boat, then she would have been broken up and turned into firewood. So we've got electricity here. I've got the sander up on the deck. We'll come out here a little bit and you can actually get a idea on just how big Joseph actually is and what kind of condition she's actually currently in. So that's Joseph at the moment. We'll walk up the bank here and you can get a better idea of the sheer scale of this boat. She used to serve in Padstow and then Galway, and then in 1980 went into the relief fleet. Or 1970 I think she went. I'm not too sure when she went into relief. I'll have to double check on the information. But that is the Joseph Hiram Chadwick as she currently stands on the hard standing here at the marina in Great Yarmouth right this very moment. She is a oak frame and is on mahogany planks. Now my kind of plan is I've got quotes for mahogany timber to help refurbish this boat, and those mahogany timbers are currently being priced at about £300 sterling per physical foot, so that's a foot square. So that's £300 a foot square plus the VAT and the shipping. And of course I'm going to be milling all of the timber for this boat myself. So the general current thought is I'm thinking of replacing some of the when I do the planking on this boat, and starting to look at changing a lot of the planks, is to actually change the planking from mahogany to Iroko, because Iroko has the same structural strength and properties as mahogany, or genuine mahogany, also known as Hyundus or Hyundus mahogany. So that is currently the plan. So walk around this side of the boat, that's how we get on and off at the moment, using ladders. So Joseph is 50 feet long, 13 foot 6 inches wide, and weighs approximately 28 tons. And this is one scale mammoth of a boat. You can just see by how much physical work will be involved in actually building this boat and refurbishing it back to the original standard. Now, the sad thing about Joseph was she was abandoned here. She's been here 15 years. So 15 to 18 years she's been stood on this particular hard standing. You just see the nice beautiful shape of this boat in the stem post and the actual forefoot and the iron keel. So Joseph's been here for about 15 to 18 years, and she's been worked on by the previous owner, who then unfortunately left her for dead basically didn't really make contact with the marina, and essentially she's now fallen into my care and ownership. So we're going to crack on. I'm going to break out the sander and the hand sander, and I'm going to start by sanding down the first 9 planks here at the stern. I'm also going to see about starting to sand down these hard chine blocks. So you can see there's a scarf joint here, and then if we go down here without dropping the camera, there's also another scarf joint there. Those scarf joints are there to help with that curve from stern post, that curve down. Now I believe that may be oak, but I'm not too certain. It's fine until I get some of this previous anti-fouling paint off the actual timber and off the boat itself. Now, boatyard that we are currently at, we don't have a canopy over her, so I will be tarping this up when I'm taking some of this paint off. However, the new location that Joseph will hopefully be travelling to, we are going to be inside the building. We're going to be actually undercover in a big polytunnel, which will then mean we can carry on the restoration work and refurbishment under the dry without having to worry too much about the elements. So we're going to pause this video here, and I'm going to go and grab the sanding gear. Okay, right, so I've managed to sand back this piece of the hard chine on Joseph, and it shows up quite a unique and interesting feature of the boat. You've got this bulge here, and if we go around the other side, you'll see another bulge there. Now there are pins that go through the big bronze and bolts that go through this hard chine, and you've got the big cast iron keel piece here at the stern, and they go through it and they actually bolt this piece of oak into the what's known as the hard chine. So that then passes through and comes out the other side, and you can just see, which I'll show you tomorrow when I sand the rest of this down, but you can see where the hard chine actually ends, and you can actually see where there's been a piece let in here. That's a piece of plank there. There's a bit of dead wood, and then you've got a chock that's been cut out here, which then goes into the rest of the cast iron chine. Same on the other side. You can just about see that up here. If the camera will focus, you can just see where it's going in there, into the cast iron, into the steel or cast keel. You can actually see where the planks come up on the actual boat in the 2 propeller shafts and tubes. That's a bit of the cast there. And what we've discovered as we've been sanding this back is the overall condition of this hard chine is not actually in bad condition. The planks, however, are deteriorated. The edges are going. So all the planks here need replacing, and what I have noticed is the hard chine in this back end has also started to go soft. So at the moment I might end up having to replace this entire hard chine piece. It might be an idea to replace it anyway, but that would mean I would have to somehow get it out of here, because this hard chine will go all the way into here. The stern post then comes down and meets the hard chine somewhere in here, and I believe it's dovetailed into position. Now getting that out is going to be a very difficult process, and it might mean I have to take all these planks. I'll have to take all the planks out first anyway, unbolt it from here, and hopefully be able to lift it out of its position. That's the theory. I haven't actually looked properly in the inside to see how that, and until I get the planks off, I can't actually say how that would actually work. So far, this is so far the worst plank that I've found. You can actually see where I've been able to push how soft it's gone in there. I've just begun to sand this down to start pulling out some more of the timber here. The cotton caulking is definitely seen better days. It literally is just pulling out. The seaming compound has gone very, very rock hard. And overall, there you go. So that just pulled out a piece of that oak hard shine. So that confirms my suspicions that we're actually going to possibly be ending up replacing this hard shine, which is not, I don't think it's going to be too hard to replace, but we'll find out in the next couple of months after the boat has been moved to its new home. But for now, I'm going to continue on sanding down the hard shine of this part of the boat to work out how much damage has actually been done by her being sat up here for nearly 20 years, and we'll get back to you shortly. Guys, so I actually got a bit distracted, so I started cleaning out the rest of the boat, and I actually found the fuel tank holding frames members that had been missing out of the hull. So those are all of the frame members that would be missing for the fuel tanks, which then go down in those bays. Found all of the posts that hold the handrails up, and if we go back downstairs, there's one of those frame posts still down there. I've also found the anchor for the boat. Further down here, this is where the heat exchangers are for the main engine's cooling system. That's for the port engine, that's for the starboard engine, and these are the wires for the handrails. So we've got loads of those in here. Found some floorboards for the engine room. Those are the bulwark planks that go up on the bow of the boat, because we're currently missing those. And I found the rest of the planks that go around top sides of the boat. Found this old Whale Gusher 25 vintage pump. Not too sure where that went, but we'll certainly find out. The unique thing about this system and the cooling system in this boat is the fact that it has basically no pump to push the raw water through the exchanger. So the water comes in here through the valve on the bottom of the boat, passes through the exchanger and leaves the exchanger over there. These two pipes there and there, they come from the engine, so that's pumped water from the engine. The top blue pipe here, that is actually an air release for the engine, which goes back up to the engine header tank in the engine room, which is not currently connected. And there's this other blue pipe here, which runs round there up into here. That is to allow the heat exchangers to bleed. That comes up inside here, which goes up there. That allows the engines to actually bleed themselves when the exchangers hit the water, because these boats, the Bennett class, were designed to be launched from basically like a boat ramp or a slid and launched down a runway. So they had to design some sort of self-bleeding air system for the cooling when the boat was launched. Otherwise they would airlock, and you'd have one hell of a time actually getting water through the engine and cooling it. And it also means that the boat can be dried out on the beach and then refloated, and you don't have to worry about airlocks in the system. Same with when you put water in the header tanks, because this is a closed cooling system as well. So you've got freshwater and raw water systems. So what you get is self-bleeding on the freshwater side and self-bleeding on the raw water side, which then all passes through the bulkheads. Now you'll notice we do have two extra sets of pipes here on the floor, the two red pipes that go into the bulkhead. Now they're for the engine driven bilge pumps that are inside the engine room, that are driven from the main engines on clutches, and they are so you can pump water from the stern bilges, the engine room bilge, or the forward bilge, which is where we are currently standing. And those pipes, I believe, I haven't yet traced where they go, but I have a feeling that they may pass or may not pass through this bulkhead here into the forward bilge. You can see some daylight coming through up there at the forward end, but that is because we're missing two butt blocks which held the bow fender, rope fender. Got a lot of work to do in here. There's quite a lot of rot in the deck frames in this particular part of the boat. This one here has rotted away. There is one there that's rotted. That one that's on its way. I'm going to have to do those. What has also been done in here at some point in time is when they put a deck on, or the previous owner of the boat was trying to lay a new deck, they've not actually put the funnels back in, the air draft funnels. So you've got about 8 funnels in this part of the boat that are actually missing. Now, if we come over to the engine room forward bulkhead, which is just over here, this is her official number, 184698. We're also missing another prism for lighting the boat. We're missing one of those. If we go over to the other side, you will then also find she has a thing called registered tons. So that reads 1178 over 100. Now her actual weight is 28 tons, is what this Bennett class lifeboat actually weighs. Yeah. So we're now down in the engine room of the Joseph Hiram Chadwick. Hiram Chadwick, I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. So she's powered by a pair of Ford engines, 6-cylinder, 6 litre I believe. We've got a pair of them here. That is the engine room door and an engine room escape hatch, header tank, and another header tank for the engines. So as I was saying about that self-bleeding system for the fresh water inside the engines, that is dragged from this pipe here, which runs through the bulkhead to the exchanger. And this is the feed pipe from the header tanks, which runs down the back of the engine. And if we look carefully down here, you can see where it tees into the main engine cooling pipes, which then go up and into the engine bulkhead. So they then go off to the heat exchanger. So as I was saying, she's got a pair of clutch driven bilge pumps, which have currently been bodged up by the previous owner of the boat. And you can see how they operate. So you've got one, you've got feed and then another feed. So you can change the direction of the water from the forward bulkhead and forward bilge, or the engine room bilge and stern bilges I believe, which then comes up that pipe, and then I believe it then comes round and into, so from there up into here. Someone's had a Jabsco raw pump fitted to it at some point. The actual plumbing is still aboard the boat. That pipe is there, and there's another one up here. So this bit here, if we move this, goes over there to where this hose is connected. I do apologise for the terrible phone camera. It makes life pretty hard work because it doesn't actually, the autofocus is broken. Luckily we do still have the two engine room funnels fitted to the boat. They're still on here. This did have an Eberspacher heater fitted at some point, possibly because the boat was being converted to live on. I'm not too sure. I'm planning to convert the boat to basically go coastal cruising and enjoy the boat in a coastal environment. This is the engine-driven capstan winch, which goes all the way up through the deck into the capstan. I have no idea how this is engaged or disengaged, so that'll be something that we are going to investigate further. I'm not too sure whether or not it's clutch driven or has some sort of drive, or it's wound in or anything. I'm not too sure how any of this works, and it might even be a case of this all might get disconnected temporarily while we figure out what this is all meant for. There has been something else that was in these engine rooms before these Fords, I believe, but we're not too sure what was in here. Now, what we do know is these engines are original RNLB engines. These are original to this boat. I don't believe that there was anything else fitted in here before these Fords were put in, because reading back through the articles and the books about the Joseph Chadwick, it looks as if these are the originals. This is number 699 and this is number 700, port and starboard or engines. I might just got to be port and starboard mixed up. That's the starboard, that's the port engine. They do look original. This one has had a new head, or a reconditioned head put on it at some point, but it doesn't look as if it was ever actually replumbed or started up. This engine, however, looks to be pretty much original. Now, my plans for these two engines is to basically have these refurbished by a company called Timek, who are based further up north. The plan is that the boatyard that we're moving to will basically be doing everything down here. So they'll be taking out the engines, they'll be doing the exhaust systems and helping me plumb those back in. Water cooling, helping go through all the cooling systems, refurbish everything there. The capstan, hopefully they'll be able to help rebuild the capstan system, because I'm pretty certain that is seized. This exhaust isn't even connected. These bulkheads, the tin aluminium bulkheads that are in the engine room, unfortunately have seen much better days, and so they will be getting replaced. As you can see, they've rotted out down there. So all of the engine room bulkheads and fixtures and fittings will be getting either refurbished, replaced, and a lot of these deck beams will be removed and new ones made out of genuine English oak, which I have a source for. This deck beam here has certainly seen much better days. All of the wiring has sadly fallen down, but that was all in very nice. As you can't really see from the camera, but all of the wiring, it's a bit better. All the wiring travels in very nice, neat conduits, and is very well placed to travel throughout the boat. That's a new plug that I've just spotted. I don't actually know where that went. The top gauges are the tachos, and then you've got all the other gauges that I needed to run the engines. Now, down here, so this is the fuse board that I believe operates the 24 volt DC system, I think. I'm not 100% certain. This is why we're going to get the boatyard where we're going to refurbish all of the electronics in this particular boat. That is a stern gear lubrication system over there. And then you come to the big heavy duty battery isolators. So you've got 3 here. So this is the starboard, that one's the port, and if either one is low, you can then just flick the big center one and it joins all the batteries together, and you've got a doubled up starting, possibly for cold winter, or if the engines are stone cold and it's -12 outside, you need to start needing more power, you can start them like that. These are the pressure gauges for the engine and the gearbox. We have self-change 500 gearboxes on these engines, and then at the very back you can just about see the propeller shaft. I'm not too sure what went on there, and I believe there was one fitted on the other side, which is not currently in position. I'm not too sure where they are or what was on those. You've got stern lubrication again, so you've got one of them which is an oil drip feed, which feeds the actual bulkhead fitting, and then that big one at the back then goes and feeds the actual stern gland itself. And then you've got the third one, which is to feed the P-bracket bearings where the propellers are. Going over back onto this side, so this one here, this pipe, we believe is the fuel tank balance. It's a bit high up for a balance pipe, as I am aware, but that is what we believe it is currently for. You've then got this pipe here, which is currently in the wrong position. That should actually be going up here, which is a fuel tank breather. There is one on the other side as well, which is just there. That pipe is, I believe, is in the back of the boat, and we'll go and find it later. Now, the interesting to note with these engines is they were actually built as hand start, so you've got the 2 hand starting handles just there. And then if we look down here, where all the electronics run, you can then see some barbarian has actually cut a hole in the stern engine room bulkhead. Now, I am not too particularly worried about that, because I'm going to be replacing that bulkhead and fitting new. However, it should be noted we're going to be using a steel bulkhead, I think. I haven't actually settled on this yet, but we will be discussing that with the engineers, and we'll be going with whatever they recommend, purely on the grounds that if oak because this boat is a mahogany planked and oak framed at the present time, oak tends to eat anything iron or steel that is put near it. So aluminium, it doesn't really affect it, but it does eat the fittings. So, and as we can see, I believe it has actually been eating away at the aluminium as well. So it may be a case we have to figure something out, maybe put a gasket between it all and go from there. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys actually enjoyed this particular video of the Joseph Hiram Chadwick lifeboat, RNLB lifeboat, and I hope we will see you guys in the next video. Please like, subscribe if you wish to see more content like this on this channel, and we hope to see you again on the next video. So thanks a lot for watching, and have a good afternoon.